All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Mainly Hoops podcast. We're still covering the Big Ten transfer portal. We've got USC we're covering tonight. They got some moves pretty level across the board, but we're going to start with Marcus. Who was the favorite of the moves they made over this offseason?
I mean, the best get they got, the best player is Chad Baker-Mazara. Guy plays with a lot of confidence. 38% three-point shooter last year, and probably didn't even have enough usage, in my opinion, at Auburn. Like, he's very efficient, finishes 64% at the rim, and an 18% assist rate. So he's a good passer, 83rd percentile in catch and shoot. Should help on the defensive end as well. Like, he's long, athletic. Sometimes he's struggled with foul trouble throughout the SEC season, but geez, who doesn't struggle with foul trouble in the SEC? Like, every game is a bloodbath. So, I mean, Chad Baker-Mazara is the best get. They had a few pretty good ones, though, in my opinion. Like Jacob Kofi, very underrated move, in my opinion. Like, coming over, had his freshman year at Virginia last year. Really good on the glass, over 10% on the offensive glass, right around 20% on the defensive glass. Showed some capability of knocking down the three, so we'll see if that expands. He was 10 for 41 from three last year. He's a pretty good passer for a big man, 11% assist rate. Some of his clips, like, he had some nice, like, dishes on back cuts, that kind of stuff. Playing high-low. So that looked good. Defensively, he is a bit disruptive, 5% block rate, 3.5% steal rate. I think he's pretty athletic for a big guy, right? He's like 6'10", 6'11". And he has some moves that are very much kind of like a guard. Like, he gets that ball in like the mid post sometimes and goes to work. So I'm pretty excited about the get in Kofi for USC.
Cody, let's hear from you. Who are you most excited about?
Yeah, I think, like Marcus said, I think Chad Baker-Mazara is the best get. I think his on-ball creation is a little bit underrated. I think we might end up seeing him be the highest usage player on this team. Him, like, next to Rodney Rice, and I have my concerns about him playing the point guard position over the course of the entire season. I think his role at Maryland that he played in last year, I think, was perfect for him. Like an off movement shooter, a little bit of perimeter shot creation, but he just kind of struggles to create advantages inside the arc or even get to the rim. So long term, I have some concerns there. And I do really like Jacob Kofi's game as well. Marcus pretty much nailed it on the head with him. I think he's got a lot of upside and we're good on the offensive glass. Really good roll man, like good in short roll, good as a lob threat as well. Like, I think his footwork and his touch are very good, especially for he was a freshman last year, I believe, right?
Yeah, I mean,
it was
like, especially for a guy that has 3 years, right? Assuming he stays at USC and plays out 3 years. Like, I know that's kind of uncommon at this point, but I think it's a great get, like you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's some defensive upside. I mean, there's some playmaking ability, like you mentioned. But one of my favorite transfers, I think, he's just a fascinating talent, is Amarian Dickerson. I mean, he's just a ridiculous athlete at 6'7". He was one of 4 players in the entire country who were 6'7" or shorter with at least an 8% block rate. He's got an insane wingspan. I would say it's close to 7'1", 7'2", and he's only 6'7". And he's an elite lateral mover. He's an elite on-ball defender, elite defending in isolation, and he's a really good weak side rim protector for his size. I think he can guard realistically 1 through 5. Obviously, there's some concerns on the offensive end with his shooting. Some decision-making stuff is a bit iffy. He turns the ball over a little bit and takes some really rough shots that should be turnovers. But I think team, and the fact that I think he is kind of a perfect fit for an Eric Musselman defense, and overall is just a two-way asset, I think is going to be crucial for this team. He may not even start. He may end up being the 6th man on this roster, but I think at the end of the day, somebody's going to watch him for the first time, and he's just absolutely going to pop off the page.
How do we feel that these guys fit into the USC system? Mark, we'll go with you.
Well, I'm going to speak a bit more to Rodney Rice and his fit in particular here. Last year, primarily played much more off the ball at Maryland. He was 80 for 214 from three, 37%, 77th percentile in effective field goal percentage on catch and shoot. So really good shooter, really impactful there. But right now it's sounding like they're going to use him at the point guard spot. Elijah Arenas went down with a torn meniscus today. Sounds like he might be in danger of missing the entire season. I guess we'll see how he recovers from that. But, that's a big blow. That means Rice and probably Baker-Mazara, like Cody said. I think he has the ability to play some point forward. He's underrated in the playmaking department. But, I guess the one good thing about Rodney Rice is he's 85th percentile off the dribble. So an effective field goal percentage. So maybe there is more upside than I think, but I don't know. You just didn't see a ton of it last year. So he does turn it over at a low rate, but it was a much different role. They're going to be asking him to come off ball screens and make decisions and set the offense. And I'm just not really sure he's cut out for that. So that's my concern with his fit. Off the ball, I really like him as a player. I think he's a really effective shooter. Like I said, I think it just remains to be seen how he is on the ball.
Cody, we'll do both. Are there any other transfers that stand out to you? Or how do we feel that these guys fit in the USC system?
Yeah, I think all of the guys in the main rotation, I think they fit pretty perfectly with what Eric Musselman's trying to accomplish. I mean, he wants versatility all over the floor, two-way versatility anyway, with somewhat of an ability to score on your own. I mean, guys like Rodney Rice and Baker-Mazara can obviously do that. We've touched on us being a little bit lower on Rodney Rice, but I mean, the defensive versatility, most of all, is what Musselman. That's his calling card, really. Those Arkansas teams that went to the Elite Eight and Sweet 16. There's that's your ideal Arkansas roster that has a ton of athleticism, ton of switchability. Can rebound as well. Just versatile skill sets on the defensive end, and a lot of those guys fit here. No other guys really stand out to me. I guess I'm a little bit worried about the fit for Ezra Asar a little bit, especially on the offensive end. I think he's more of a primary initiator that's going to kind of have to take a back seat to some of these guys like Rice and Baker-Mazara, and he just doesn't really profile all that well off the ball. There's no shooting element to his game. He's solid on the offensive glass, but I don't think it's enough to really move the needle for me. I think at some point, there's a way that he doesn't get worked out of the rotation, but I think his minutes kind of get eaten up by a guy like Jaden Brownell from Sanford, who I think is a really good shooter. I think he's really good in pick and pop. He's going to be a guy that plays spot minutes for the most part. He's an intriguing talent. Just a guy that Musselman kind of took a shot on as an offensive talent. And there's some defensive stuff there. He had a 5% block rate. So pretty impressive from him. And I think he can potentially eat into Asar's minutes.
What's the ceiling here for the Trojans, Marcus?
Yeah, I did the same thing.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to say something about Ezra Asar real quick. Then I'll give my prediction. Ezra Asar, I've been for anyone that's followed along, he started East Carolina, right? Then went to Utah. But he plays with an extremely high motor. That's the one thing that he does have going for him. He's a bit undersized. He's 6'7", 6'8", but he plays kind of relentlessly. So he runs the floor well. So I guess he has that going for him. But like Cody said, I'm worried about him on the offensive end. He took 84% of his shots last season at the rim. And then anything that probably wasn't at the rim was a 12-foot teardrop.
Yeah, and a lot of it was through the post and in isolation. It just doesn't really project to be something that he's going to do.
Yeah. So, but as for their ceiling and floor, I don't know. I mean, ceiling to me, I can't really see them above a 5 or 6 seed. floor is maybe like, I feel like they're going to make the tournament, maybe 10-ish. I don't really know, though. It's such a, like, there's so many new pieces to this team. It's so hard to figure out how they're all going to gel together in the middle of July.
Yeah, it's a tough team to predict, I think. But Cody, let's hear it from you. Same question.
Yeah, I mean, the floor is way higher than last year. I think there were a lot of overrated talents on last year's roster. There was a lot of guys that came in and averaged 15, 16 a game, and they tried to all just blend together. And they didn't have the same defensive qualities as some of the guys on this roster have. Like in the starting lineup, I pretty much like every single defender in a vacuum. And I think that's exactly what Musselman wants as well. And it might take some time for them to work together a bit, but over time, I think the defense is going to be fine. It's just the offensive creation that we've talked about a little bit, I think becomes an issue. The shooting is good enough to give them a decent offensive floor. So, I mean, I do think they're basically a tournament lock. I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. I think they're bubble-ish would be their floor. And then ceiling 6 or 7, just because I don't love the guard talent individually all that much on the offensive side.
Any final thoughts before we wrap things up?
No, I mean, I hope USC is better.
Yeah.
I think with this roster, like college basketball, I think is more fun when they're good and when they're in the tournament. So I'm rooting for them to be pretty good.
Me too. I agree. It's nice to see them good. Cody?
Yeah. I think it's going to be a sneaky fun team. Just 'cause there's a lot of athletes on this team, and there's a lot of guys with personalities on this roster too. Obviously, Chad Baker-Mazara is the leader of that, and some of it's for good and some of it's for really bad. You know, he's probably going to get tossed for a few games this year, but over time, he's going to be fine. He's going to be a positive impact on both sides of the ball. But I do think this is a team that's going to play with a ton of intensity and a ton of athleticism. They're going to be flying all over the place. So yeah, definitely a more fun team than last year.
You know what them being fun means? It means a lot of like 1 a.m. bedtimes.
Yeah.
Be watching them even if they were boring. So
no, I know, but 11 p.m. tips tough.
All right, that wraps it up for the Trojans. As always, thank you for listening to the Mainly Hoops podcast.